Recently, I asked a bunch of Harry Potter fans to give me the most unhinged questions about the series.
Oh, bloody hell, here we go.
I'm going to react to them and try to answer them as best I can. I'm excited to dive in, so let's do it. All right, the first one, did Snape die a virgin? This is something that I've actually talked a lot about, both on TikTok and on my Instagram story. I actually did a poll. Okay. So I was thinking about something, and let me know what you think. Do you think that Severus Snape died a virgin? Let me know. And I think like 76% of people were like, yeah, he did. He was obviously in love with Lily from the time that he was, like 9 or 10 years old, and his love for her never faded out. As he said, always. One thing that pops into my head though is that while he was a Death Eater, he might have slept around a bit, especially to kind of ease his heart after he lost the woman that he loved. Either way though, I think that Snape being in love with Lily for such a long time is, well, kind of creepy. He had not spoken to Lily since his 5th year in Hogwarts. And their last conversation obviously did not go well, as Lily was like, I'm done, and wrote him off for the rest of her life. So the fact that he still loves this woman who never showed any sign of love for him it's sad. It's sad, we'll say that. Do I think he died a virgin though? I'm gonna go with no. I think he did sleep around when he was a Death Eater. Like, it makes sense that he would. All right, next question. How many times did Merope rape Tom Riddle Sr.? I mean, we know at least one because obviously they conceived a baby that was Lord Voldemort. This is another thing that I've talked about on TikTok and Instagram, that being that love potions are pretty messed up. Like, they are basically date rape drugs. The fact that they're sold in Fred and George's shop is absolutely wild to me. So it was probably a lot of times, which is kind of horrifying to think about.
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
Moving on, since Mad-Eye Moody can see through anything with his eye, do you think he ever looked through people's clothes? I mean, we know that he did this at the Yule Ball. He looked through Harry's dress robes and said, "Nice socks, Potter." This is a pretty crazy thought because obviously, like, he can just look through any woman's clothes and just, take a peek. Do I think he did that often? I would hope not. So I'm gonna say no, but like, the fact that he looked through Harry's dress robes doesn't bode well for him. I'll say that.
End of story. Goodbye, the end.
Moving on to the next one. Did the Centaurs rape Umbridge? A lot about rape so far. Probably. Yeah, probably. And how that would work, like, it would be a horse's thing going in her. That's a crazy thought. All right, hang on. Let's look back at what the book says. Let me pull it up. Since she had returned to the castle, she had not, as far as any of them knew, uttered a single word. Very traumatized, clearly. Nobody really knew what was wrong with her either. Her usually neat, mousy hair was very untidy, and there were bits of twig and leaf in it, but otherwise she seemed to be quite unscathed. So if she's unscathed, that means that they didn't, like, beat her up, which means that they did other things, so yikes. Oh my god. Yeah, this video is wild already, but yeah, I do think that they did. Oh boy. Let's move on to the next one. Did the twins ever look at the Marauders map and see that Ron was sleeping in bed with a man named Peter Pettigrew every night? This is something that fans joke about a lot online. I'm gonna say no, I don't think that they saw that. I feel like they only used it when they were sneaking into Honeydukes or trying to go through one of the tunnels. So I don't think that they would be looking at it in the middle of the night where they would see Ron. But just the thought that Peter Pettigrew slept in bed with Ron for 3 years at Hogwarts, like, that's gotta affect Ron. Obviously, he did have that line where he said, "I let you sleep in my bed." So obviously, that was one of his first thoughts when he found out that his rat Scabbers was a man. And not just that, like, a very creepy and kind of disgusting man. Like, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, much less cuddle up with him in bed. That's terrible.
Completely demented, of course.
All right, moving on to the next one. Can someone use a memory charm to make a woman forget they had sex? And if they did and impregnated her, Would she just find out she was pregnant with no idea how or who the father was? How the hell do you guys come up with these? That would be a crazy situation. She might be like, oh my God, I'm giving birth to the Jesus Christ of the wizarding world. No, but that's a pretty messed up thought, especially because you think about how strong memory charms are. Like we saw that with Gilderoy Lockhart. There are some ways to break through a memory charm, but it's rare. That's a wild question. I don't know who thought of that, but okay. Let's move on to number 7. Is it weird that George Weasley married his dead twin's ex, Angelina Johnson? Yes, absolutely. No, without a doubt, yes. Imagine what's going through Angelina's head. She's like, hey, George, you look just like Fred. So she's kind of like trying to fill the void of losing Fred and kind of using George to do that. Is she in love with the look of George because he looks like Fred, or is she in love with George? Thinking about it, I feel like she was originally trying to fill the void with Fred, but I think eventually she did fall in love with George. And then one of the most messed up things about this, maybe not messed up, but the weirdest thing about it, is that they named one of their kids Fred Jr. I don't know, man. I think it's really, really weird and really unhealthy.
That's insulting.
All right, moving on to number 8. Did Krum date Hermione while she was underage? I mean, yeah, she was 15. She turned 15 that September, and Krum, going into his 7th year when he came to Hogwarts, he was 18.
You've been discovered at the scene of the crime.
Crime?
Technically, this is not against the law, but it goes against the rules that society has, I guess you could say. Like, it's not against the law, but it's definitely frowned upon. And it's not like they had sexual intercourse. I think they kissed just one time. So it's not like egregious, but if I saw it, I would be like, that's weird and not okay. That's just me personally, though. Moving on to number 9. How was Hagrid conceived?
No more questions. Don't ask any more questions.
How I think about it is that Friedwulfa, Hagrid's mother, is so large that I think Mr. Hagrid kind of just walked on in, did his thing, and then walked out. But yeah, that's my thought. I think he kind of just walked in like it was a cave and did the dirty deed and then let that thing fester in the cave and then march on out of there. Jesus Christ. I hope this video doesn't get taken down for being inappropriate. Moving on to number 10. Would ghosts survive an apocalypse? Finally, one that is not completely messed up. Thinking about this though, they probably wouldn't die because they're not made of physical matter. Like, that's in canon. Ghosts are not made of physical matter, meaning that if something like a bomb dropped on them, I think it would just go right through them. But then we also have to take into account that when they saw the eyes of the basilisk, it affected them and made them go all black. So the nuclear remnants might have done something similar to that. Although maybe the basilisk only did that because it was magical. So it's a toss up, but I think, yeah, they would survive. Moving on to number 11. What human conceived the half-goblin Phileas Flitwick? And similarly, what human conceived the half-house-elf Irma Dugard? It's probably somebody very messed up. They were like, hey, look at that goblin over there. That's a good looking goblin. Don't mind if I do. And I think the half house elf is even worse.
It's disgusting.
Also, it's crazy that like you wouldn't pull out.
I've reached my limit, you hear?
This is absolutely the most unhinged video I've ever made. All right, number 12. Can a person just apparate inside somebody's house to burglarize, can't say that word, burglarize, attack, or even kill the homeowners? I mean, we did have that line from Dumbledore where he said that doing that would be the equivalent of busting somebody's door down. And then he said that most witches and wizards put a charm so that people can't do that, just like Hogwarts has. Like, you can't apparate or disapparate inside the castle grounds. So no, you can't just apparate inside somebody's house. Number 13, could you produce the Imperius Curse on someone and use it like a date rape drug? Oh my God, these questions. I mean, I think yes, you could do that. And we were talking about love potions and how they were basically the same thing, like you could use it for the same thing, but I feel like this one is even worse. First of all, you're using an illegal curse, one of the 3 unforgivable curses, to do so, and you're using it to do one of the most disgusting and vile acts. I don't even know if most Death Eaters would do that. But the answer, yeah, I think you could. Number 14, why is it okay for the Black family to sever their house elves' heads and hang them on the wall? That's something that I've thought about. Like, how do the house elves feel about that? They're doing the work, they just look up, like, there's mom, there's dad, there's grandma, there's great grandma. Like, Jesus Christ, like, does that affect them? I guess not, because I think they see it as an honor, kind of.
Creature lives to serve the noble house of Black.
All right, and the last one. Can people in paintings fall in love and have sex? I mean, yeah, they can definitely fall in love, but I don't think that they can have sex. They can definitely mingle, like they drink together, but I'm pretty sure that they have to stay in the clothes that they were painted in. I don't think that they could take them off or alter them in any way, which obviously means that they can't take it off and have sex. Why are there so many questions about sex and rape? And that's not what I thought this video was going to be about when I sat down for it, but that's what we have. So that is 15 unhinged Harry Potter questions that are now answered. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video, which hopefully will be a lot less unhinged than this one.